All right. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope your bags are pumping today. It's a great day. It's a sunny day. Everybody's happy. So I'll do a little introduction about myself first. My name is Corina, also known as Cori.eve or Xerox Corina. I was previously doing growth at MakerDAO and then head of growth at The Defiant. And I currently have my own consulting company. It's called Beehive Consulting, and we help with growth strategies. And today we have here Adrian from Pocket Network and Laura, who also has her own marketing agency. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Okay, hi everyone. So I'm Ads. I spent a decade working in global brand management, brand strategy in places like Unilever, Diageo. I then spent a decade building businesses in Asia. Fell down the rabbit hole about 3 years ago, and I'm now head of marketing in Pocket Network. So we are a universal RPC-based layer, so we're decentralized infrastructure, and that kind of enables the flow of data, of communication between any two computing entities. So right now we mainly connect applications to blockchain data, so you can read and write to the blockchain. So we make it usable for the real world.
Thank you. Hi everyone. By the way, guys in the back, who is planning to launch a token in this bull run? Who is planning to launch a token? Only 3 people? No one is launching the token? Who is doing a TT? No? So everyone who raised their hands, they have to be sitting here because today we all here, ladies, we're going to be sharing all the alpha on how to do marketing for your project, for the token launch, and of course, how to pump the token. And I'll need to introduce myself as well. So my name is Laura Kornilina Medinova. I run a marketing agency, LKI Consulting, and I've been in crypto space since 2016, and I've helped probably more than 200 projects to successfully launch their tokens, and then, of course, make the community happy. I'm also partner at early stage VC called Illuminati Capital, where we invest in crypto projects, majority of them in token stage. So again, who is planning to raise the money should also be here in the front seat so I would remember the faces.
Yeah, I think all of you just have to come here, that's it. All right, thank you so much for such a fun introduction, both of you. Adrian, I'm gonna start with you. I would like to know, first of all, how long have you been with Pocket Network? And can you tell us a little bit more about your roadmap in the future and your strategy?
Yeah, so I've been with Pocket for coming up on 8 months, so still relatively early doors. Since I've been with Pocket, I've been trying to, I think a lot of Web3 projects actually lack user centricity. I think we talk too much from the world of our project and we see marketing as a shill vehicle or a way to explain our technical brilliance to a broader audience rather than really thinking about the end user, their needs and wants, and that importance of building equity with them over time. So we've been really taking it back to who are our core audiences, what channels, who, what, and how. Like, who are our core audiences? What do we need to communicate to them? And how are we going to do that through what channels? And then kind of trying to do that, we're a DAO, so trying to do that in a way that is community-centric. I'm a passionate believer in headless brands, so trying to involve people and make sure that everybody in the community shares their creativity and their innovation as we define the brand. And now we're moving into looking at decentralized execution. So how do we leverage this phenomenal resource of community so that we can experiment faster, innovate faster, and ultimately scale faster than any centralized entity can?
I actually want to stay on this question a little bit with you because I'm curious actually, how do you leverage your community in that way? Are we talking about ambassador programs, rewards, anything like that?
Yeah, so for us it's much more holistic than just an ambassador program. Mm-hmm. We have local ambassadors and we're looking at kind of redefining that program. But we have a strong culture of empowering our community. So we have quick grants programs, so anyone in the community can spot a gap and run an experiment almost permissionlessly. So, if they think that we're not doing something on Reddit, we created a socket that's been running, they report back to the community monthly. So it's very easy for people to bring a skill, identify a gap, and start filling it.
Amazing.
We also have a larger kind of RFP process for bigger pieces of work. So we have that, but then also we have a value around doing everything in the open, and we actually do it, even when it's hard. So trying to make sure that we are present, that we are sharing our thoughts, that we're creating spaces for the community to come and engage with those and challenge those. I think I don't believe in design by committee. That doesn't work, clearly. But I think at the input stages, when what you are looking to do is innovative, then the more perspectives you can bring into that, the better. So we try to open house kind of those discussions, and then we take away that input and try to distill it into something clear and single-minded. So I think in the input phase, we leverage everyone.
Okay.
And then just vehicles for kind of contribution through marketing. And then ambassador programs and decentralized. We're looking at kind of potentially creating like a decentralized events network. We're looking at leveraging local ambassadors. We've already got hubs that are supporting some of our token holders in markets where English isn't the first language. But it's just an experiment. Everybody is learning how to do this.
Amazing. So then the local ambassadors would be running their own events and sort of promoting the community themselves.
Yeah, so for now they're primarily looking at, right now they're mostly hosting Telegram spaces, translating content, responding to questions. We have done some local events and we will do more. I think decentralized events is a space I'm really excited about.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Laura, we know you have a Web3 marketing agency. Tell us a little bit more about the projects you're working with.
So I believe that I shouldn't be talking about the projects per se, even though you can go to our website, lkiconsulting.io, and see some of the biggest projects like Binance was our client, worked a lot of Multiverse X ecosystem, Cardano ecosystem. I want to spend this time here to actually give alpha to everyone who are sitting there and who wants to understand how to do that market launch, how to do their token launch, how to build the community. So I always say that, especially to my clients, when they come to the agency and want to work together, is you need to understand who is your target audience for any kind of token launch. And usually in the beginning, they're of course what? Investors. You want to target investors. What investors want to see? If I'm wearing my investor's hat, want to see? I want to see a good kills on the cap table to make sure that those kills, after the token is launched, of course, pumping it and chilling it. I want to see the good exchanges. I want to make sure that any kind of project I invest as an investor will do good if they're listed in top 10 exchanges, because they will bring the volume. And number 3, I want to see the community. I want to see people who are actually going to buy, first of all, the token and then hold it. So that's number 1. You need to have investors. Then, of course, you want to have those influencers. What influencers care about? They care about their other friends, influencers. So I always, again, say to all of my clients, and now I'm literally sharing the strategies we do within the agency, you need to get one very good QL, tier 1, even if you need to pay 20, 30K, get the money for wherever you can to make sure that he or she talks about you, because when you have one really, really good kill, all the others will come. We had this case with one of our clients, and it was very, very good Cardano project. We're trying to get influencers excited about it, and no one was. No one even wanted either allocations or a fiat to promote the project. But then we got one of the big crypto influencers, Paul, to talk about it, Paul Barron. Everyone else came running back to us, and they're like, oh, we're just going to promote it. We don't even need tokens. Just let us be part of it. Let's get us the early access. Why? Because one person they respected talked about it. And then, of course, number 3 is exchanges. And here, exchanges care about any kind of liquidity you can bring to them. Up to probably last month, exchanges were depleted. People weren't buying crypto, people weren't excited. So they wanted people who are probably coming from Web 2 to come to Web 3 with that specific new token launch and become members in that exchange. And I'll give you another example from our current clients. They were talking with OKX, they were talking with KuCoin, with Bybit, and the project has around 200, 300,000 Twitter followers. They're like, yeah, but you need to increase the numbers. And they kind of said very much nicely, like, if you get the numbers up, we can list you. So then it means it's the numbers. And how you get the numbers? It's building the community. There were great examples here shared by my fellow panelists, how you engage the community. But it's all about having these key elements: investors, influencers, exchanges, and community. And if you have these key 4 elements, you'll do amazing launch.
Do you have any tips actually on user retention, on how we can, after we gather some attention to our project, how can we actually build a strong community out of that and build this trust and loyalty?
So the most important thing here is to understand who you're targeting when you're launching the token. Because around the launch, so 1 month before the launch, you want to focus mostly on the speculators and the traders, those who are going to pump your token on the day of the launch because they expect it to do 10, 20, whatever X. That's what you need to focus on short term. And a lot of projects make this mistake. They focus on speculators in the long term. Whereas in long term, your community members should have an investment mindset. That means they should be there for the long time. But in the end, everyone in crypto is here to make money. They want the token to do well, not in just short term when it's the launch, but afterwards as well. So you, as a project, need to continue hyping the community with new developments, with new partnerships, with new integrations, because you can't do that just at the day of the launch or before to do the successful launch. You have to continue doing it. So I always tell my clients that after you launch, if you want to continue with a good token price, besides of course the market makers and other things, you have to do one big announcement every month to keep the community excited and share about your future plans. What you're going to do next month, what you're going to do a month afterwards, what are going to be the integrations, what are going to be the partnerships, because that will create the hype.
Amazing. What do you think about influencer marketing?
So I completely agree with everything that's been said around how you build maximum hype and interest ahead of a launch. I guess for us, like, we're very focused on sustainable equity building. So, we are launched in market. We've had a token in market for years now. So I think for me, it all boils down to stories and spaces. So you have to tell a story that will captivate your audience, that speaks to a truth that's true to you, that is true to them. And then you have to create spaces that you can engage with them through. So it's very audience centric. And I don't disagree with the principles that you outlined, but I think also, I do think people aren't just in it for the money. We have actually we have our share of degens, but we also have a large builder community that are really focused on building businesses. So it's not just kind of, token related, but it's actually, they come here because they can build a business in our ecosystem. We had a lot of people from Web2 setting up companies to operate nodes within our ecosystem, and just really setting out that long-term strategy, that clarity of vision, something that is more meaningful and hopefully larger, so that you have a why. There is a unified why, and then distilling that into stories and creating spaces that you can kind of connect with your audiences through. So I think KOLs can be a part of that, and we have some very influential, I guess they are KOLs, but very influential community members that support our project. They support it because they believe in it. They support it because they're ideologically aligned with it. They've actually been part of our community for a long time, and it is hugely powerful. It moves numbers. But I think it's important to have it within your mix, but to kind of be aiming for something bigger.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I think narrative is very important in Web3. A lot of people are ideologically driven in Web3 in general. And also very often the users are not just users, but also potential partners, because they might plug and play, integrate with your project as well. So we need to wrap up, but I have one final question. Do you have any final tips for everybody here who's building a project? Whether they have a token launch, where they want, whether it's B2B or B2C, what are your final tips that you think more people should really consider?
Sure, and And I really agree with your points that you need to understand at which stage of the business you are. In the beginning, you need that massive boom to build the audience to get it very excited. But if you want to get them excited for a very, very long term, you need to slow it down and be more about the values and ideology. I 100% agree with you here. When it comes to advice, I would say the biggest success I saw in the projects that we worked with, they weren't necessarily the best ideas. It necessarily wasn't the best founders. It was the founders who had the biggest network and who had the best people who would help them to get introductions, who get listings, who gets partnerships and integrations. And I would say if there would be only one piece of advice, focus not necessarily on building just a product or just a team. Focus on building the right partnerships and the right network, because the network will get you so far. And I could name countless of projects I worked with in the past that no one even knows about right now, even though they had so far more advanced technology than their competitors, but competitors succeed even though someone had really shitty tech and really bad teams, just because they knew the right people and the right partners who help them to grow to that level. So make sure you network with people, make sure you meet everyone, because network in this space outperforms anything else. You agree?
Yeah, a hard yes. I think in addition to the power of partnerships and the power of relationships, which is one of the things I think is particularly strong in Web3, I would say try not to get caught up in your own bullshit. Like, try to get out of your project mindset and get into the mindset of your end user. Talk to that rather than from where you are. It's simple to say. It's really actually very hard to do, especially if you're a founder and trying to get a project off the ground. And don't make it too clever. Really focus on distilling everything down into simple. Simple beats clever, and it's really fucking hard. So, as far as you can, try to simplify and distill. Try not to be too clever, and always try to think about the person you're trying to talk to and what they want to hear, because nobody wants to read another Twitter post.
Yeah, fully agree. Thank you so much. We have a couple of minutes to take a question or two. Does anybody have a question? Please raise your hand. We need to wrap up. Okay, we don't have time. Sorry. Thank you so much.
Thank you, it was great.